Yes. Hello, world. You're listening to Business Podcasting Made Easy on the #1 global business talk and news network on the internet, IBGR, International Business Growth Radio. Welcome to the Influencers Formula, where you get a roadmap to instant authority and thought leadership with a podcast that you're proud of. I'm Donna Cundy, co-founder of the IBGR Network, global radio authority and podcast expert, who has produced over 14,000 podcasts. And this is the wisdom that we're sharing with you.
And I'm Ben Joy, a 3-time international best-selling author with teachings that reach more than 50,000 people worldwide. And that's all thanks to leveraging my books. And that's the other part of what we're talking about through this whole adventure. So we are your hosts for this 13-week journey, and we are coming toward the end, which is amazing.
What?
All of a sudden. So before we jump in, remember that if you want direct live support from us for your business podcast, then contact us today at IBGR.info. And this week, as always, we'll keep walking you through an easy to follow, proven plug and play way to get your podcast done 13 minutes at a time in just 13 weeks. So follow the formula and welcome to the show.
Yes, this is week 12 of 13. So hard to believe. We're talking about your podcast profit playbook, the next level strategies and investing. So in this next hour, you can expect from us in episode 45 to learn about when to get behind the mic again. Then in 46, syndicating your podcast. Episode 47, producing a commercial for your podcast. And in episode 48, marketing and paid advertising for your podcast.
That's such good stuff, and following on the heels of some really important stuff. If you didn't catch last week's episode, where we were speaking with Chris O'Byrne, who's the publisher of more than 12,000 books, including the fact that he's a best-selling author himself. So we talked about the wild west of book writing and publishing and how to survive the Badlands. We talked about the 3 biggest misconceptions about book publishing: that it's better to be traditionally published and self-published or non-traditional published. That is a misconception. Also, the fact that you can do good enough editing and design, so there's no reason to pay for it. Absolutely not true. And the biggest misconception number 3, that you need to launch your book immediately after it's published. And the only reason for launching a book is to sell a lot of books. And that is not true either. I mean, that could be true if that makes sense strategically for you, but listen to that episode and really understand why. So that was last week. And today we are starting out with when to get behind the mic again, which makes it season 11, episode 45. And our dear friend, Elizabeth Arden, of all people, says repetition, makes reputation. Repetition makes Let me try to say that again and speak it through. Repetition makes reputation. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Beautifully said, Ben. Yes. It is so true. And I'm glad that you're bringing it up here, because this is a question I get a lot from the hosts at IBGR. When do I get behind the mic again? Because we're producing so much content. When you follow the Influencers Formula, you're going to be producing 52 episodes in 13 weeks, which is kind of unheard of in the podcasting world. That's a big deal. If you're just new to podcasting, let me tell you that is a big deal. And if you continue to do it season after season, because we're talking about 13-week business quarter season, then that is, you're 100, 150, 300, 500, you're going to be producing a lot of content. And so we had talked about in the past episodes that produce your 52 weeks and then monetize. And if you get into this monetization, well, when do you get behind the mic again? And this is super important for our listeners, because you want to become a person worth listening to by bringing a whole new level of awareness to your podcast. Seeing from the top of the mountain, so to speak. Your content will be evergreen. It will never go bad if you're following our formula. And you can continue, but then you can also start again. So we just went over the roadmap of what we did for Influencers Formula before we started this episode, you and I, Ben. Yep. and within each week could be its own season. which in each section could be its own season. So there's so many ways to deep dive into this. And when you're thinking about this, you have to know when and how you will serve next, and what do your people need. And you'll get that information if you're looking at the metrics that we had talked about in previous episodes, when we said your podcast is your focus group. And whoever is downloading you the most will give you an idea of where you go next to deep dive into more of your genius.
Absolutely. And if you're hearing this for the first time and you're like, what are you talking about, Donna? Make sure to subscribe to the show at influencersformula.com. And like we said before, if you want direct support from us for your business podcast, contact us today at IBGR.info. Right. And we're going to talk about what you need to do. So we're going for this 30,000 foot view, top of the mountain, eagle eye vision, all that kind of stuff. And Donna, you talked about it already, right? Look at the downloads and see what people are listening to, what's most relevant, and then integrate a hot topic from there, right? You can take an item or two from your playbook. You can redo your season. I mean, there's so many ways to do this. But again, keep it simple and straightforward, and don't make things up, but look at the data and make smart decisions based on what's happening to your podcast and for your listeners.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Ben, because, when you say like redoing your season, well, you maybe thinking, well, why would I redo my season? Well, there might be, while the content is evergreen, you might be in a different level of awareness. You have a different presence behind the microphone. I guarantee after 52 episodes, you have become a different presenter. So that could be a reason. But then you and I have a shared friend in Monique, who took her first season that she did by herself on the magnetic voice and business speaking. And then in her next season, what she did is she went and interviewed people in her network and outside of her network who were experts in that week's topic. Mm-hmm. And now you're tapping into, if you remember what we talked about, how to get organic reach for your podcast. Now you're tapping into other people's networks, and you're still talking about what it makes sense, leveraging yourself as that genius, is that in your zone of genius, leveraging yourself as that thought leader, but you're also bringing in shared voices, which adds excitement to things.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I think what I'm hearing in all of this, Donna, and listeners, if you're not hearing it, listen now. Don't reinvent the wheel, which is something we can continue to keep talking about through this process, right? See what's available, what you have in place. Where can you go deeper? Where can you expand upon? Because if you're doing 13-minute episodes, which is what we're doing as part of the roadmap here, right? Everything that you're teaching in the space of 13 minutes, right, can be tricked out into, an hour a day, 4 days, depending on the topic, right? And also what Donna, what you were saying before, that you are a different person at the end of this experience, just like writing a book. This is my first time doing a podcast, right? And we're on episode 48 or whatever it is, right? And I am a different person, and I'm looking back at some of the episodes going, oh, we could go deeper there. Oh, we could go over here, right? And some of that is, yes, from the download behavior. And some of it is where I see deeper opportunities to serve people, especially book writers and people looking to publish their book, because I see what people are asking of me as of now and going, oh, wait a minute, there's another opportunity to go a little bit deeper right over there. And I don't have to, again, reinvent the wheel, because I don't want to do that anymore, right? I don't think of myself as old, but I'm too old for that.
Exactly, yes. And so if you're thinking about your first season roadmap, if you followed the formula like we did, it is that bird's eye 30,000 foot view of your area of expertise. And you can go back and look at the roadmap as the framework and just decide, where does it go? And then when you talk about the hot topics, there's always hot topics I think, in any area. You talked earlier about the misconceptions in the interview we did last week in book publishing. Well, we talked just about 3 of them. I'm sure there's plenty more misconceptions out there. So what if a whole season was myth busting on some of your big topics that, in a sense, you're proving your point and positioning yourself, leveraging yourself as that expert by busting myths that people might be going down a rabbit hole on, and you're saving them from themselves, so to speak.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't go down that rabbit hole. And remember, keep coming back to the roadmap, right? Follow the plan, and we are here to help you, right? We're coming to the end of this series. And of course, you can do this on your own. And we have laid it out for you to be able to do on your own, right? Because we are here in service and support. And why not get help, right? If you can get professional help, I'm not just talking about therapy. If you can get professional help, do so, because that, right? What's that African proverb, right? If you want to move fast,
Go
go by
alone.
yourself.
Yeah.
And if
You want to go far,
go far, thank you.
go with the tribe. Yeah.
Go with the tribe. Exactly. And we are here to help you do that. So you can check us out at IBGR.info to schedule a call with Donna and me. And of course, you can keep following along with the process at influencersformula.com. Just because we're getting to the end of the season does not mean we're at the end of this journey and adventure together, nor are you, listener, at the end of your journey of making the best of your business and making the biggest impact that you can make on your own terms in the world. So thank you for being here. And Donna, do you want to take us home?
Sure, I'd love to. We're going to take a short break. If you're listening live, if you're listening to the recording, you can go ahead and just keep on listening. But this is going to wrap up your episode, Business Podcasting Made Easy, the Influencers Formula, episode 45, when to get behind the mic again. You get behind the mic again when you have something more to say, when you want to be creative, when you want to add more voices to your podcast. There's always a reason to get behind the mic again after you monetize. You're listening on the IBGR Network, International Business Growth Radio. I'm Donna Cundy.
And I'm Ben Joya. Thank you for listening.
We'll be back shortly, so don't you go anywhere.